You know, I love podcasting. I have since 2006, back when you had to use like a Dixie cup with string to make the thing work. And that's why I'm so excited that we recently moved Mysterious Goings On to Anchor FM to record our podcast. I gotta tell you, I don't regret it a bit. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Not going to lie to you, when I first heard about Anchor, I was a little dubious because I've been doing it the hard way for so long. But I got to tell you, it's very easy. Use a Stripe account. Get sponsors. You're not paying monthly hosting fees. The sound quality is great. The distribution is phenomenal. Friends, download the free Anchor app today if you want to start your own podcast, or go to anchor.fm to get started. Remember, you heard it here first on Mysterious Goings On. Welcome to Mysterious Goings On. I am your host, J. Alexander Greenwood, and if you listen carefully, that's the sound of me pouring myself a libation. And if you listen even more carefully, hang on a second.
Power off.
Turned off my speaker. I was listening to a little Neil Finn, lead singer, songwriter for Crowded House. Love that guy. But if you listen, here, see if you can hear. I'll just be quiet. What do you hear? Okay, hopefully you can hear the birds chirping and singing, and you can hear the pitter 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 pat 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 of rain on the umbrella outside. I am outside in my backyard. I'm not up in the crow's nest. If you don't know anything about me, I'll just tell you real quickly. I have a pretty cool deck on the second story of my house, overlooking, everything. And when I'm up there, I fly a pirate flag, and it's called the Crow's Nest. Like when the late great Prince was ever in his Paisley Park studios, he would, turn on the purple light. Well, when I'm up there having a drink or whatever, in the Crow's Nest, I fly the pirate flag, and yep, it's flying right now, but I'm not up there. I'm huddled on the ground floor with my yard, not too far from the famed front door backyard bar, and I'm huddled under a large sun umbrella because it's raining. It's not too bad. It's just little summer rain. We've had some rain here and there, and we're going to have more this coming week, but wow, listen. I'll be quiet. You can hear the road too, but hang on a minute. And here's the thing. I don't live in the suburbs, really. I live on the edge of the suburbs. I'm pretty much in the city, on just the outer ring of Kansas City, Missouri. So, you'll hear plenty of street noise. I'm not sure how sensitive my Tascam DR-07 Mark II is, but you'll hear the birds, but you'll hear some road stuff. But it's just beautiful. Sometimes, even in the midst of all the hubbub of being right near the city. Listen, you can hear that car going by. But anyway, you're listening to Chapter 16, a few weeks delayed. Now, if you're listening to this in the far future, if you're not a regular weekly listener like my good friend Zoofster, at Zoofster on Twitter, or at Brainzooming, if you're not one of those listeners on Twitter who chime in and go, what the heck's going on? You had 15 weeks straight of shows, and all of a sudden you don't have a show for 2 or 3 weeks. Well, as the late, great John Lennon said, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. And You know, writing is the true love of my life, apart from my family, but it is not what pays the bills, and therefore I've had to turn away from the podcast a little bit to work on writing, but also to make a living. The other thing, I wanted to get into it a little bit on this show. It's kind of weird calling it a show. I call them chapters, but it is a show. It's an episode. It's not much of a show in the sense that, you know, there's no dancing girls or music or anything like that. But anyway, I digress. It's a Saturday night, and I had a long week, and I've been enjoying a little bit of Santos Tequila Blanco, 100% Puro de Agave, product of Mexico. And not drunk or anything, but feeling good and relaxed for the first time in about a week. So, but what have I been up to? Why haven't I been doing the show? That's kind of the best lead-in I can think of to tell you, here's what's been going on. All right. But first, if you will, a little tequila. I'm not a huge tequila guy. I normally am a martini guy, but, you know, summer hits and you just want that tequila shot and a little lime and a little salt. It assaults the senses. Haha. No, I have been working on more writing, but the situation is different because I have not been writing a new John Pilot mystery. If you know anything about me, you know that the John Pilot mystery series is whatever minor claim to fame I have in the world of writing, and I've written 5 total works for that series, and I have several more to go. But I also have been plagued by, that's my neighbor opening his garage door, if you can hear that. I've been plagued by this years of wanting to write, oh gosh, how do you say it? A straight novel? A genre novel? Not a genre novel, but a straight novel. And I don't mean literary in the senses that I'm Jonathan Franzen. I just mean I want to write something that is not a mystery or horror. I want to write something that's about everyday life and about everyday people doing everyday things, but hopefully it's not terribly boring. Here's the thing, speaking of boring though, I get about 5,000 words in, and despite the encouragement of my good friend, author Jason McIntyre in Canada, who's been easily working away at his next novel, I've been struggling. Can you hear the rain? Can you hear it? What is it he said? What is it Commander Adamas said in Battlestar Galactica? Get your gun and let in the cat. Something like that. Rain's coming? I don't know. Anyway, but I've been struggling mightily with it. It's a deeply personal story. It's a novel, but it's obviously rooted in my own experience. And I have been trying to come at it from the, well, let me just get down to it, the third-person omniscient view. As if I am God as I write this, and I am giving you every detail from every character's aspect. And it's been total drudgery. It is not working. I've frustrated as hell, really pissed off at myself, and it's like, oh my God, is this all I can do is write my mystery stories? And please, I'm not knocking my mystery stories. I love my mystery stories, but I'm trying to write something that's a little different, and I'm frustrated that it's not coming out. And this has gone on for a month of trying to crank out something, else, something different, something unusual for me, a more straight up story, more literary, if you will, or mainstream maybe is a better word than literary, because I suspect there's very few things I will ever do in my life that will be confused with being literary. But a mainstream novel. Let's call it mainstream. Now, shall we? Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That calls for a sip of tequila. I mean, I've struggled with this for almost a month. And when I'm writing, I very much of the Stephen King mode, where the first draft you write with the door closed. You don't talk about it to anybody. You don't bitch about it to anybody. You don't talk about what you're writing. You just don't. I don't really like to divulge much until I get that first draft in the can. The problem is my first draft is nowhere near done. So I just remember about a week ago, I was in bed, and I was in that twilight zone between waking and sleeping. And I mean, I've been in a really bad mood. To quote my wife, a shitty mood, unquote. And a lot of it has to do with, I think, oh, my neighbor's getting in his car. Let's listen to this old 78 or 80 Monte Carlo cranking up here. Come on now. Although he does have a habit of just sitting in the car and smoking cigarettes. Nope, here he goes. Oh, yeah. The throaty growl of the Monte Carlo. Here he goes. Out to make another run for more Busch beer, or maybe Schlitz, or America's brand, or whatever the fuck. Okay, anyway. Where was I? But I've been in a really pissy mood because I can't get the words on paper. I know what I want to say, but I can't seem to make it work. I can't make it effective. I can't get the words down in a way that makes sense to me. And normally with a John Pilot book, I get into a groove, and those books come out relatively quickly. And this isn't happening. So I'm in that twilight zone between, you know, the waking life and the sleeping life. And by the way, as you get older, as I am getting older, and we all are, but as I am getting closer to a milestone in my life, which I will not discuss at this moment, sleep is a wonderful, wonderful respite from the rigors of daily self-doubt, contemplation, work, futility, etc. Anyway, so I'm in that wonderful, blissful twilight zone. And I know this sounds corny and fake, and you won't believe it, but I literally sat up straight in bed, and it hit me. First person. If this is my story, be it a novel, and things will change, and it will not be a word-for-word, memory-for-memory telling of my own life, but it will be strongly influenced by my own life. Why am I trying to write it in third person? I should be writing it in first person. Holden Caulfield comes to mind, Catcher of the Rye. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not J.D. Salinger. I never make any pretensions about being any better a writer than I am. But it's first person. This is a personal story, and this story needs to be told from the aspect, from the perspective of the person who's living it. And as soon as I made that switch, as I flipped that switch in my mind in a metaphorical way, everything started to come back. Everything started to come out again. It was as if the faucet was unplugged or whatever. Some Drano got poured in. I don't know what to say about the drain. I don't know. Is it a faucet where things come out, or is it a drain when things go away? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. You read the book later and you tell me. But the point is this, writers. If you're stuck and you have no idea why, perhaps because you're in your own way. By me trying to be God, or third person omniscient, I was in my way. And maybe God didn't need to be in my way, so to speak, on this particular book. Perhaps I needed to be in the driver's seat, and God was my co-pilot. See what I did there? Get it? The whole thing? Okay, fine. I'm stretching a metaphor. Forgive me. I've had tequila and it's raining, and I can hear sirens in the distance. So what do you want? Here's the thing. I'm not rushing with this book. I'm taking my time. This book may come out years from now, and I may put it down and go ahead and write the next installment of John Pilot Mysteries, listening to hear my friend Ed Zufster from Twitter saying, yay, because he wants a John Pilot story. He's probably going to read whatever this is if it comes out, but I know he wants more John Pilot, and I love him for that, and that's great. The good news is that I figured out that sometimes you can get in your own way by, I think when I sat down to write this, I was all grandiose with, this is my real novel. This is not a genre novel. This is not, a mystery. This is a real thing. And that's bullshit. Writing is writing. Stories are stories. Doesn't matter if there's Colonel Mustard, in the library making out with the maid. It doesn't matter what it is. Writing is writing. And when you get it in your head that it has to be some grandiose thing in some pretentious masterpiece, then you're already defeated. You're already sunk as far as I'm concerned. Sir, it's called Midas. Get a muffler. Excuse me. And so that's where I'm coming from this point of view, is just that I feel all of a sudden energized again writing this book, this story, and also excited about the possibilities of maybe doing another John Pilot novella, though not a full-out novel, but a novella, maybe a 80-90 page ebook novella could be the next step for John Pilot. And my friend Jason McIntyre, who I mentioned previously, who has written the wonderful Dovetail Cove series, and I think he's just about finishing the final chapter on that, but he doesn't necessarily write these massive opuses. He will write, a novella, and those novellas have every bit as much currency as the full-length novel in his series. And, that's the thing. There's no reason why I should be weighed down by some pretense of, well, a novel is at least 200 pages. Well, my last book, John Pilot book, was a book of short stories, Pilot 7, available on Amazon, book, everywhere else where ebooks are sold. And people loved it. I mean, as far as, the response. And it was 7 short stories. And it still progressed the narrative of the John Pilot mystery. So who's to say that I have to write a full-out, 200-plus page novel when maybe the next logical link in the chain for John Pilot is 80 or 90 pages. So I feel good about that. So I want to tell you, if you're a writer, I want you to hear this right now. Never in the history of publishing has it been easier or made more sense for you to package your work as far as length or story the way you want to than it does now. If you want to put out ebooks that are 30 pages, I would suggest that you make sure that you have one a month if it's 30 pages. But if you want to tell your story, there is no hard, fast rule that it has to be a proper, so to speak, book. It can be a novella. It can be a book of short stories. It can be one short story at a time, as long as it, helps the continued growth of the story, the continued progression of the story. Well, anyway, I'm getting to the point where I'm going to repeat myself. I think Mr. Tequila has had his way with me, or she has had her way with me. Let's put it that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So again, it's a Saturday twilight, and I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and there's some sprinkles of rain falling, and I smell freshly cut grass because I cut it myself. I just finished eating a burger I grilled on my own grill and enjoyed with my lovely wife. Traffic is going by. The world keeps turning. And probably very soon I will be back on track writing my novel. So I appreciate you listening. I hope this was helpful to you. If nothing more, it was a ramble that helped me. And by looking at my listener downloads on iTunes, I'm pretty sure it's just me and a couple other people listening anyway. But here's the thing. If you could do me a little favor, if you're enjoying these podcasts, these chapters, if you like this show and you want to continue it, I need some encouragement. I'm going to tell you right out. It takes time and effort and a little bit of money to put out a podcast. If you believe in this, if you're enjoying this, I need you to do this right now. I need a vote of confidence from you, listener. Yeah, you. You with the earbuds. You in your car. You on your computer. You. Yeah. No, I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to you, ma'am. There you go. I need you to go to iTunes in particular and write a review of this podcast. Give it a starred review. All you have to do is to click some stars. 4 or 5 would be nice. And then say, Alex's show is entertaining. Alex's show gives me a insight into the view of the work of a genre writer, or I enjoy hearing this because Alex is an idiot. I don't care. Just say some nice things and post a review. It'll take you like a whole minute, maybe 2 minutes to do. And the reason I ask her that is it encourages me, first of all, and second of all, the more reviews we get, especially the more positive reviews we get, the more likely iTunes is likely to promote the show to people who've never heard about it, and it will turn up higher in search on iTunes. So can I ask you to do that for me, please? Well, I already did ask you. Can I ask you to please follow through and give me a review? Thank you. All right, don't forget that Mysterious Goings On is the official podcast of the J. Alexander Greenwood Mystery Series. Here comes my neighbor again, by the way, in his Monte Carlo. He's getting out. Let's see what he bought. I'm gonna bet on a suitcase of beer. Let's see. Hang on a minute. I'm watching. Oh my God, score. He bought a suitcase of beer. All right. I have rambled on far too long, and that's what you get, those of you who complain that I missed a few weeks on the show. So, again, pilotscross.com is where you can find more about the books. Go to any place where ebooks or books are sold, and you can find my work. Just look for J. Alexander Greenwood, or I'm on the Twitter at @A_Greenwood. I'm looking for your reviews, and I'm going to give you a shout-out for everybody who gives a review. In fact, starting today, because I know for a fact that Mr. @Zufster on Twitter gave me a nice 5-star review of the show. I'm looking for 5-star or 4-star, okay, maybe even 3-star reviews from you guys. So let's hear them, okay? It takes you 2 minutes, right? Until then, I'm J. Alexander Greenwood. You could call me Alex. I'm sitting in my rain-splattered backyard, watching my neighbor drink a suitcase of beer and saying, thanks for listening, and keep reading.
It's a great time to get a great deal on a new car when you get approved for an auto loan from PenFed. Our Powered by True Car rates are as low as 1.39% APR on new vehicles. Finance for a longer term to lower your monthly bill. Plus, take up to 60 days to schedule your first payment. Join PenFed, and together we'll keep you moving forward. Anyone can apply. Visit penfed.org/auto or call 1-800-247-5626. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
T-Mobile has been building America's largest 5G network for this epic 5G moment. Introducing the new iPhone 12 Pro, now at T-Mobile, the leader in 5G coverage. Download, upload, and game at 5G speed in more places. Unleash the power of iPhone 12 Pro with T-Mobile.
Capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.